Hello, and welcome to another episode of 9 to 5 Nerds with Robert Swathwood and Katrina Swathwood.
Hi.
Yeah, I almost forgot my name. So last episode, if it didn't sound like it, we were a bit rusty. I felt like we were rusty.
It had been a while, so you usually build up a rhythm as you keep doing it
The rhythm.
consistently. The rhythm.
So, but we did say we wanted to talk about Invincible, and I want to do that. So, spoilers. Lots of spoilers.
All the spoilers.
All the spoilers. Not necessarily comic book wise. I don't want to spoil anything comic book wise for the people that are jumping on the series now.
Just strictly the show.
Yes.
And what was
But
included.
I'm going to put up or explain what our previous Invincible experience is, since that's not a spoiler. Does that make sense? Like how we
Yes.
came to
Right.
being fans of the series. So, there was 144 issues that ended 5 years ago. 5 years ago now.
Has it been that long?
Yeah. 4 or 5 years. I can't remember. It's in that range. You gonna look it up?
Yeah, I'll look it up.
And I read the book. Will you look up when the first issue came out as well? I want to say it was like 2003, 2004. But the way I didn't get on at the beginning. Or did you find it?
It is thinking.
So I didn't get on it at the beginning. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I got in a little ways in. Not as late as, or not as early as I was to The Walking Dead, but a little later. I got in the issue Walking Dead in either 4 or 6. I can't remember. Really early on.
Well, when this launched, it was in January of 2003.
Okay.
So we were well late to the party.
Yes, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm getting there. So Walking Dead, I jumped on within the first 6 months. But the way I came upon reading Invincible was, so it came out 18 years ago then.
Yes.
And I probably started reading it 12 or 13 years ago, maybe 14 years ago,
Okay.
in that range. Well, and I'll get to what issues I started with. So we were at Comic-Con one day, and we were shopping, and this was, Walking Dead was ran around for a couple years, but I was getting something signed, and I was going through the line. I don't think you were with me. I don't know if you were with me when I was going through that line that day. But I was going through the line, and I was getting something Walking Dead signed by Robert Kirkman, and he goes, "Oh, what do you think of Invincible?" And I go, "I've never read it." And he goes, "What do you mean you haven't read it?" And he reaches in the back and he gives me the first 2 Ultimate Editions, which cover the first 26 issues.
So the first 2 story arcs of like the 5 that are set up in a sequence.
Even if that, but it's nice when you get to jump into a comic and read a huge chunk. Sometimes that first, issue may not snag you or whatever. I'm not saying that in this situation, but we went to a panel and we were waiting for, I believe, the Futurama panel to start. And I read it, and then I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I like this." So I got caught up. So I got on within the first 30 to 40 issues in there somewhere.
Okay.
If the two hardcovers have already been in print. So start reading it month to month and read it as it comes out for the last however many years. We both liked the series. You read the comic as well.
Yes, I did.
It was very good. And it to a point where I've had fan letters in 2 of the issues for naming our kids after characters in the show. So both our kids have names off the show. So we were pretty big fans. And, there's been rumblings in the past of, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg were going to make a live action movie. And apparently that's still in the works. But that was on first. And then it was like, oh, it was going to be an animated series. I remember back when there was the motion comic. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the fancy movement and words.
Yeah,
It was
and I
through
was
MTV.
Yeah, and I was excited about that. And now, years down the road, they announced the Invincible TV show. And it trickled down by, you hear voice castings. J.K. Simmons, Omni-Man, Stephen Yeun, Sandra Oh. And you're like, wow, this is like...
names.
Yeah, and as it goes down, Mahershala Ali, Ezra Miller, Mark Hamill, it goes on and on and on and on, and you're just Walton Goggins,
right?
And you're just like, wow, this isn't gonna be like
some dub over.
Yeah, although the voice casting for that Dragonlance movie that came out, I mean, that had Kiefer Sutherland in it and stuff.
That was a good one,
and it's still that movie
just
was
didn't
bad.
land very well.
Yeah. So then I'm like, all right, and then you start seeing trailers, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll admit it. I was a little skeptical of the animation, but once I got to watch a full episode, I appreciated the route that they went.
That's a moving comic.
Yeah, and it almost reminds me a little of Saturday morning cartoons,
right?
Which I kind of like. But now here we are. The season has started. It has ended. We've watched one full season. And I have lots of stuff to say.
Where do you want to start?
Let's just start episode 1. What did you think of episode 1? And then we'll trickle through.
It was appropriate because it was kind of awkward.
A little bit, yeah.
And I think it was meant to be that way. But it was fun. It was interesting to see some character choices and how they moved it differently.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah, I think so. We can break down what people think of Amber, and it's ridiculous, but
that can be a long conversation.
I've recommended this show to a lot of people. Anybody that'll
listen to you,
listen to me. I've recommended the show, and I've had a couple texts from people that are watching it, and they're like, "Why did you make me watch this?" Not like in a oh, it's bad, but it wasn't for them.
Okay.
Everything, and then I get a text at the end of the first episode, and they're like,
"Oh,
what just happened?" So I've got a lot of people hooked. Most of the people I recommended to have watched the entire series,
which is really easy to do.
Yeah, you get hooked real fast. It's such a good book because you have the action, you have the violence, and you have the comedic tones. You have the spoofs on the other comics. You have there's so many, and as that comic goes on, those layers get deeper and deeper, and it's I mean, the whole story arc is great, but this first season I felt they started it obviously where it needed to start, but it ended where it needed to end. It was a good cliffhanger.
Right, because you don't want to start a new story. You kind of want to end the first one.
Yeah, and it leaves, like, I'm sure sales for the book are going crazy, but it leaves people to go, well, what's happening? Yeah, what's happening? Because it was such a big, turnaround. I mean, Omni-Man's changed from the first episode to the 8th episode is terrifying.
Oh, absolutely.
It's nothing short of terrifying.
It's slightly a little darker.
Yeah. But going towards the beginning, what's not to like? I mean, the Mauler twins are great and stuff like that. But I'm having trouble with how do I put this? I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm not you didn't like the comic. This is mine. I'm a more the merrier type person. I want as many people to be able to discuss this with me, read this, find out about this experience as possible. However, with a higher increase of people, you get a more likelihood of trolls or
people just wanting to pick it apart, to pick something apart.
People that want to pick apart a teenage female character.
For having an opinion?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, she's 17.
Right.
And she works at a soup kitchen, and it seems like she donates a lot of her time.
I don't know if she works there. I think she just volunteers.
Yeah, I mean, okay, she doesn't work for money. She volunteers her time. And to all appearances, she's a saint. She puts up with Mark when he's late and does all this stuff for a long period of time. And then when she admits that she doesn't want to be lied to because she already knew he was invincible, people are losing their minds. What is wrong with somebody not wanting to be lied to?
It's the trope that you're supposed to understand that this person has an alternate life and that you just need to accept that.
I don't get it. It's they seem to attack, and I'm not even married to this character. I think she was way better developed in the show than she was the comic.
Absolutely.
I don't remember her being much of anything in the comic, and
it was kind of like the touched on. Oh, he has a girlfriend, and he went away to see her.
Yeah. Whereas they fleshed this Amber out a lot more than they did in the comic book.
Right.
And I appreciate that. You know, I feel like that kind of stuff is needed for Mark to grow. I did have some people tell me that the scene where Omni-Man hits Mark for the first time and he's like surprised his dad hit him.
Right.
You know, a lot of people were like, oh. But I'm wondering if people at the end realized the abuse. I mean, how many child abusers say, you're making me do this to you?
All of them.
Yeah, and that's what he's saying to Mark at the end.
Right.
He's hitting him, why are you making me do this to you?
Right. It's not me, it's you.
Yeah, I found that interesting. What didn't change from the book to the comic is how clever the Mauler twins are.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah, they're great. They're one of the best characters of the show. They're definitely scene stealers.
Well, they have their own banter. And the thing is, who's the real one?
I mean, you assume
I'm the real one.
You assume the real one died a long time ago, right? And they're all clones.
They're all Yeah, they're all copies.
And I loved them. I remember most of the situations that happened in the comics. I don't remember. Let's just dive into it. I don't remember that subway scene in the book. Was that in the book?
I don't think so.
That may be one of the most brutal pieces of television.
It went on for a really long time.
Oh my God.
And it just like didn't stop.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa. And then, you know, it went from there. And there was a lot of tough scenes to watch, even if it was animated. I mean, when Omni-Man is saying, why are you making me do this to you? That's brutal. That scene is rough.
It is rough. Well, because he just had eventually decided that he wasn't going to fight back. Like, he just wasn't going to. And
nothing he was going to do was going to do anything.
Right.
And, I mean, you just went from thinking your dad is the ultimate superhero to seeing him cut a mortal in half.
Well, people fall, you know, from their pedestals, and it's a pretty long drop.
But that's a big drop to be thinking your head.
He's been operating under the fact that his dad's been saving people and taking care of people.
Yeah.
And, you know, I thought it was interesting how quickly his wife caught on to him.
Debbie Grayson may be the best character in the whole show.
And it wasn't even that she like just found out that he's like keeping stuff. She always knew. She just didn't go there.
I mean, you think before the Guardians or
right?
How would she have known anything before the Guardians? She knew something was up?
No, like he had something because how he hadn't shared that much with her about where he came from. So at some point she had to accept that was just how it's going to be.
Okay. I like how she handled Mark the first time he chirped back once he got his superpowers. Basically, you know, like, look.
Does that make you feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a epic.
Well, because we use language as weapons and, you know, to make people, like, to disarm them and make them smaller.
Well, language hurts more than most physical. I mean, you can really manipulate somebody and chop somebody down as opposed to, you know, punching somebody. Chances are you'll heal from that. Somebody. But you can really, you can systematically break somebody down.
Yeah, over time
with words like that. But she was great throughout. It was tough watching her watch Nolan talk about her.
Right.
When he was saying that she's more of like a pet.
Right. Well, because you can think so much about what somebody else thinks about you, but when you actually get to hear the truth and it coming from the source, that's just much more harsh.
Well, you would hope the truth is something loving, not I look over at her as a pet.
Right.
You know, I think if you don't want to hear the truth because you're afraid of what it might be, you're probably not in a good relationship anyways.
Right.
That's just my 2 cents. But going through, the initial episodes, and Mark and Debbie Grayson, who's excellent. What are other parts that you enjoyed about what's happened so far? What did you think about the teens?
The teen team?
Yeah, was that what they were called? I was trying to pick.
I think it was.
Yeah.
No, it was pretty spot on from what we had read. Like
we haven't talked about Manzukis as Rexplode.
No, we haven't. That's fun. I did like how they kind of exploded Robot's character a little early.
Yeah, they jumped on that fast.
So I think it's to lay groundwork that he's been doing this stuff all along.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've already seen in the first season that Robot doesn't necessarily follow the rules.
Right.
Even though you're there to think he's a robot, he's not actually a robot if you've seen. But he goes a little south. The character goes a little bit.
Which is funny because that was kind of a big reveal when you're reading the comic that he wasn't what he was. So many, issues beforehand.
Yeah, yeah.
So to see that up front, it's going to be interesting to see how they develop that and how he kind of plays off that. That's not really what's going on.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the characters that they didn't use enough. Was it Damien Darkblood? Is that his name? That Clancy Brown does the voice of. Yeah, he was fun, but I don't think he was really as necessary. I guess they just kind of made fun of him in the book too, huh?
There's a couple characters in the book that they just kind of poke fun at, and they're like, "Oh, that's that guy over there."
I was hoping they would use the scene from the book where they're talking to the comic book artist about reusing the same scenes in different colors, and they're obviously doing the exact same thing. So that's fun. I'm so excited because I've seen the response and how much people are loving this show, and the fact that it got renewed for season 2 and 3. So it's going to be around for a while. You hope that it stays consistently good, but the things that people are going to see, like you saw Battle Beast for a split second, but he has so many cool things that you're going to get to see down the road.
Right. And it was kind of like a jerk.
Yeah. Well, he was.
Bastard.
He was not a nice guy.
No, that's very true. But
then you see Conquest for a split second. He's the older Viltrumite that you saw when he was talking about his homeworld and stuff. You see him for a split second. He has some cool moments later down the road. And I want to say...
important ones, too.
I want to say at a point you see the edge of what might be Thrag.
Like his cape?
I don't know if he had a cape at the time. I can only hope. But I think you see a little bit of him. So the stuff and there's these huge, story arcs, and then there's these more subtle ones that are in there as well. That I'm really excited for not only the people that have read the comics, the people that haven't read the comics, and the people that I've introduced to this show. It's cool that I get to talk about this stuff with a completely new audience. And not only that, but everybody I've referred the show to, I've offered the trades.
So they can read
if
it.
They want to read it, because it's an incredible book. It's 144 issues. It'll take you a little while to read, but it's awesome. I mean, and the show is just a reflection of that. I mean,
right.
They really nailed it.
They did. The tone, the way things transition.
Yeah, and Stephen Yeun is so great.
He is.
He is perfect for that. I mean, everybody that I've listened to so far has just been great.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that's been off or seems strange or like they're trying too hard.
Yeah, I felt like J.K. Simmons was phoning it in a little bit, but the more I listened to it, the more it matched
Nolan's
the character.
demeanor.
Yeah, it matched his
it's very
demeanor.
flat, very straight to the point, no fluff.
Yeah.
So no, I thought that was perfectly fitting for it. Like I could see what you're saying, like affect, like. I'm just going to say these words because I'm getting paid for them. Yeah.
Like Peter Dinklage on that. What video game did he...
Oh, I have no idea.
It was a video game. It might be Destiny that he did the voice for, and it was not good.
Really?
Yeah, it was
That's disappointing.
Good. To the point where I think Nolan North redubbed it like 2 years down the road.
It's like, let me fix this for you.
Yeah. But I'm hoping that we can like there's been like people talking about dream castings and all this stuff, and I can only hope that they get some more Walking Dead people like Andrew Lincoln or Jeffrey Dean Morgan,
like offshoot characters.
Because he used the other ones. I mean, Lenny James and Michael Cudlitz and all these people that were
like, hey, come record your voice for a minute.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out because, like I said, we're very passionate about the book, and I've had all kinds of friends read it, and man, I was trying to think of other scenes. I really need to write these bullet points down sometimes. Like I said, we're still a little rusty, but when he's trying to save that building, when the corner of the building falls.
Oh my God, and people just keep dying.
Yeah, and he's just trying, and he thought he held on to that woman, and then it's just her arm.
Yeah, her arm. No, there was some very brutal shots in there.
But it had it was slow and then real fast. And then slow and then fast. And then
lots of blood.
Yeah, it seemed like the fast started to outpace the slow and, just kept picking up speed.
Right.
But, yeah, we didn't talk about, were they Flaxons? Was it the Flaxons?
I believe so.
That was a pretty good scene as well. And
all the portals, that was cool.
I think that's what people saw for the first time what Nolan can be, or Omni-Man can be, because he went into that other dimension. And he laid waste to that. He Anakin with the sand people.
Brought them under control.
Yeah. I mean, that was brutal. And so, I think that's when you start to see the turn, and then you see the bloody suit, and you see, all the little things that they're trying to do because they know it's him. I saw another thing about people complaining. What was it? It was $5 million every time Cecil teleported.
Okay.
So how many millions of dollars did he spend in that battle with Omni-Man? Which was also cool.
That was
normal
cool.
person just with a few tricks.
Right.
Fighting him. He got his tie at one point.
Right, he did.
Yeah. But that's costing it was $5 million, so that probably cost, I don't know, $50 million in just teleportations right there.
Okay.
And then how much invisible soldiers cost and stuff like that.
Oh, jeez. Because, this is real life.
It is real life.
Dollars and cents.
No matter, I like people break stuff like that. Just enjoy it. Sometimes it's fun to, not that this is one of those instances, but sometimes it's fun to just not think.
Yes.
And just watch.
That is very true.
That's why I liked watching Armageddon when I was a kid. It's one of those
you knew
ones
what was going to happen.
Check out. But yeah, the show's great and the comic's great. And I really, if you've read the comic and now you're watching the show, you're just as happy as we are. And if you watch the show and haven't read the comic, go buy it. Go to skybound.com. Go buy the book. Go to Comixology. Just go get your hands on it in any way you can. Go if you're close to a local comic book store, go support your local comic book store. That's they'll have it. They're ordering this stuff nonstop. I know it's sold out on Amazon right now.
That's so strange.
Yeah. So I'm sure they're printing up more copies. But if you can't get to your local comic book store, go to Skybound. And, while you're there, pick up another trade. Pick up Birthright or Stillwater or any Redneck or any of the good books that are over there. Excellence is really good. Yeah, I know we promote that, but they don't pay us or do anything like that. But we've been Skybound people and friends of those people since Skybound started.
Right.
We've grown up with that company as well, and made friends with a lot of them, and just seen how passionate they are all about not just comics but movies, video games, TV shows, all this stuff, board games.
Yeah, there's so many things they do now.
Yeah,
you can't even keep track of it.
That's why I'm saying go check out something else if you like this, because the quality's there on other stuff as well. I can't wait for a second season.
Do we know when it's going to drop?
I'm sure next year.
Okay.
It's not coming out anytime soon. You know how cartoons are.
Right. No, I wonder if they waited to see if they were going to get renewed before they started working on anything.
I mean, that's probably how it goes. You don't start before you have the money.
Well, unless you budgeted enough to get started.
That's true. I mean, I could see that, but I like the little announcement that Kirkman had with Steven Yeun.
Oh, that was cute.
About a second and third season. So I'm I can't say enough good things. Solid A for me after giving the last couple things we watched C's and D's. It was refreshing.
Oh, yes. No, it was definitely way better than most.
Yes. I thought you were going somewhere with that. It's better than most. But no, the next couple things I want to talk about, not this episode, but the next one I want to talk about, Made for Love, and
which was weird.
It was weird, but we'll touch base on it. I don't see a lot of people, doing any reviews on that show. I mean, I was recommended it by the Crossing Streams podcast there's some guys from San Diego, but yeah, it was a little strange.
And I think it was put that way on purpose.
Yeah. I
don't feel that was an accident.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I didn't dislike it, but we'll dive more into that because we're almost done here. And then Rick and Morty and Dave start up soon. And the 1 year...
Is there any other TV that we watch that's current?
Baking. We just said this yesterday.
But I don't even think that's current either.
There should be an option. I guess there is an option on Netflix for stuff you watch again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But we got some stuff coming up, and we're looking forward to it. We're going to try to get a couple more episodes out to you all this month. But remember, again, that we do have baseball, and it's winding down, so we are still fairly busy. But then once June rolls around, we'll be back to a full schedule 4 times a month. Maybe more if we can get more in, but,
Oh, ambitious.
We still have 2 kids, even when they're not in Little League. You can't just drop them off at the Little League and wait.
Take off.
Months. But, yeah, we'll be back shortly. I'm going to try to squeeze 2 more in this month, so we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.